we look at the past, I would hope we can get inspired by looking at the craftsmanship and looking at the details and long to build better because we see beautiful things like this. I'm asking the question as we get to the end of this period, why are these houses so charming? Why are they better designed than new houses today, right? What happened? Because the, Frank Lloyd Wright, obviously they're doing their high-end stuff, but those are cheap houses, and yet they're really charming, right? Those are well-designed, good-looking houses that, and so what happened? I've got a number of theories. And this, just showing you all the different design influences and the different people. Remember, the magazines are speaking into the homeowners of what they should build. You've got the top designers like Frank Lloyd Wright. Everybody has a voice. Why was everybody doing things the same? Why were they all producing beautiful houses? I think great design requires a design philosophy. And that's why my chair is here, and that's why that chair is here. Because a design philosophy is a narrative. It's a story about why something matters or why something's there. And those things, that narrative and that design philosophy are not taking place in a lot of new houses today. If you look at this is the Barcelona Chair. Mies van der Rohe, this is the Barcelona exhibit. He designed these chairs to fit into that space. Very modern. This is 1950 something, and incredibly influential chair. When you break it down and when you look at it, look what's going on with this chair. Okay, these are all circles, right? And so they're creating radiuses that are happening. Here's one big one, center line, right in the middle. There's one coming off the back, right? It's center line, it's creating this square that captures the whole thing. I mean, what a beautifully designed, no wonder we're attracted to it. No wonder we look at it and go, oh, that's really pretty. I don't know why I like it, right? I've done videos on regulating lines of houses, why you look at a house and go, I know I like it, but I don't know why. It's because there's regulating lines tying the house together, helping it make sense in our brain and helping us to understand it, even though you can't see the design ideals that are taking place. The reason Frank Lloyd Wright wanted to design all these chairs is because his houses had a narrative and a story and a design philosophy that he wanted those things to fit. I don't want you messing up my houses, putting things in it that don't fit the philosophy that I've created, right? And so you see all these different chairs. There's the Roby House chair that are fitting into this philosophy that was very important to him. And then the round chair. This is a very famous from the, this is the first chair I bought that I spent money. I go, I got to have one of those chairs. Now, why did I get so, enamored by this chair? Anybody guess? It's beautifully constructed, okay? Notice how the arm, which is flat, carefully moves back into this backrest and then goes back down so seamlessly, right? Look how these connections and this joinery here are so simple. This chair fits in a mid-century modern house. It was designed in the 1940s, 1950s. This fits in a low-ceiling ranch-style house, right, that expresses these ideals. And so when you see that, it's beautifully constructed. It's as simple as possible, right? There's not crazy ornamentation in here. It's comfortable to sit in, right? It functions. It's designed well. It's beautiful. It's attractive. And you start putting all these things together, and you're like, oh yeah. Now, there's a design philosophy with that chair. With this chair, it's you'll spend $1,500 to $2,500 for one of these chairs. They are beautiful. And there's a design philosophy and a narrative there. It's not a coincidence, okay, that Van Gogh said this was a self-portrait and this was his friend, okay? He feels like I'm simple. This is a farm chair. This expresses who I am. My friend was much more flamboyant. My friend, was more of a character, right? And so Do you get, you know what I'm saying? There's a design philosophy, and chairs, there's a reason why architects are trying to design their chair, right? That the chair is so important because it expresses their ideals in a very simple, look, here's my ideal, right? Here's my design philosophy. Here's what I believe right here, right? And so if you can do that, you are expressing your beliefs, and you're communicating very clearly in a very simple object. So why do those houses look better, right? I've got a lot of theories, but one is that our houses today don't just have a design philosophy. I believe that builders and homeowners and a lot of people build a house by assembling these parts. You go pick your brick, go pick your windows, go pick your hardware, go pick your, and then I'll assemble them, I'll put them together. Okay, no, you can't do that because if you've been to the hardware store, it's like a wall like this long all the way across of every different style and every different hardware. If you read the book, The Paradox of Choice, where people are overwhelmed by so much that they can't make a decision. And so unless there is a design philosophy that we are going to be simple and clean, okay, our house is going to be very rustic. It's going to be an early period English house. Okay, well, what hardware would go in that? Well, in that period, they only had iron hardware. So we need to go to iron hardware. All of a sudden, you've nixed 80% of that wall and you're talking about iron hardware, right? Why? Because there's a design philosophy that is going to unify the house. So it's not a mix and match of all these different things that don't work together. But if you think about how Stickley and those guys would think about, okay, there's no ornamentation in my house. I'm going to let the natural beauty of the wood show through. It's going to be an honest house. It's going to be a simple house, right? Those are all defining theories and design philosophy things that will unify it. So I don't have carved moldings in that house, right? I don't have heavily ornamented things. I have simple things. And so there's the design philosophy. I think we've also lost a common language, okay? And we'll talk more about this when we talk about Levitt and modernism and what's going on there. But the classical language, and I've said this before, it used to be that the chair rail was an understood, it's always the pedestal of a column. I'm trying to look for a pedestal here, I don't have one. It's always at some height, but it's not 36 inches. And it drives me crazy when people put a chair rail at 36 inches in their house because it's not right? Why isn't it right? Well, because the classical language expresses that there's a pedestal and a column and an entablature, and those things help us read a room, help us realize things are beautiful. And so that classical language gets lost, and we'll talk about it more in the modern period, why it gets lost. But we no longer, if you ask, and I nearly got in fights over the internet about saying that the chair rail is 36 inches. It's never 36 inches. You measure the back of the chair in the dining room, and that's not what you do. So anyway, there's 3 or 4 pieces here that we've lost. I think the architects have abandoned residential construction, okay? Frank Lloyd Wright, 95% of his stuff was residential, right? Who's the star architect today? Frank Gehry, right? I guarantee you 95% of his houses or his projects are not residential. The architecture schools aren't training in residential design, right? Because most of the money is made in commercial construction. And so it's hard to be a good residential architect who understands classical detailing because those things aren't taught anymore. And so we've lost the architect, we've lost the chief designer in the process. And then modern ideology, I'll talk about that. I think at that period there was what I call trickle-down design. How much? Trickle-down design was that Frank Lloyd Wright, Gustav Stickley, the Green brothers could design something, and then these guys, any builder magazine could put these things together. There was home building catalogs from face brick companies. There was, Longbell Lumber had a home building catalog. There was all kinds of people that put out house plans in this period, and yet they're good looking. Why is that? Because everybody looked at the great design, and then the builders copied really well, okay? Builders now, because of Levitt, we'll talk about him more, control design, and they push the architect out of the way. And so there's not a designer in the process. What do builders care about? Making money, right? I don't blame them. I'd like to make more money, right? But they push the designer out of the way. We have ugly houses. See this? Builders think that because the house is selling, it's well designed. Yikes! Homeowners think that because it was built, someone must have designed it. Both things are false. Okay? That's the problem. I wrote my book, Timeless House Instigators, because I wanted homeowners to realize the fallacy of what was going on here and to build better. So those are my theories.